We'll start with a little bit of statistical research. How many of you do not live in Norway? Raise your hand, please. And keep your hand up if you have not heard about FINN.no. That matches more or less general statistics. Sorry, remote is not working. Because 96% of the Norwegian population knows about FINN.no, and a person living in Norway will visit our site every second day. So we're the leading classifieds portal in Norway, where you can buy your new home, sell your car, get a new job, find your next vacation, or find a baby stroller or a new sofa. And it looks like this with a search result page. These are for homes, and a detail page where the house is prominently shown. And last week, we had about 1 million visits from Google, causing 15 million page views. So that are not bad numbers, but I'm quite sure it can be better. When I started looking into this, more than 95% of the pages indexed by Google at FINN.no were a waste of time and energy. So this talk is about what went wrong, how could we improve, and how can you avoid the same problem. And I will be using the term SEO, which is search engine optimization, and search engine friendliness, somewhat interchangeably. Because in my view, I'm not really talking about optimization as so much as just being friendly to the search engine and help them do their job. And I believe that if you are on a project that has a public website, you should know some basics about how search engines work. And also, it makes it much easier to know when to call and who to call for more help, and avoid the worst black hats and deceptive techniques. So my name is Henning Spjelkavik. I work at FINN.no as a software engineer and architect. I usually talk about Kafka, domain-driven design, and I like to debug interesting stuff like thread dumps and memory leaks. But today, I'm going to talk about the lack of search engine friendliness at FINN.no. My experience with search engines is mostly from my time with Ski Info. It was a pan-European site about where to go skiing. It's a very important topic. And we had to get traffic from Google in many markets. So I've basically followed this topic since the 90s. And just to scare your CEOs, doing this wrongly can actually hit the bottom line. In 2014, eBay lost a significant amount of traffic because Google said that you are breaking the rules, this is deceptive, we remove you from the index. Though I think these numbers are a little bit exaggerated. But that was what was mentioned in a call with the financial markets. So, to tell you about what went wrong, I need to cover some background and history about search engines. We'll go through some basics, and we'll see how we improved a little bit at Finn. So let's start with why. The number one goal, why should you be listed in a search engine? I believe for most, the goal is to get traffic. And in order to get traffic, you need to be visible in the organic search, preferably top 3. You need to look good in the search result so that people click. And you need to give a good user experience so that people don't bounce and just immediately hit the back button. So you really want to be on top here. And I mentioned organic search. That's what that's just the ranking from Google. You can pay to be above the organic search, which is not featured here. And for Norway, the term forbrukslån, consumer loan, is worth 500 kroner, 60 euro. So to be on top for that search query, you need to pay a lot. which means that they earn a lot of money when they get a click, or on average, of course. So, the history. A search engine crawls the web and indexes what it finds. There's no magic. It starts with a page, follows all the links, looks at the content, and makes an index out of it. It will read the content as it's rendered. Think of it as a Chrome browser or an Edge browser without the screen. And it will read the HTML, including metadata, H1, H2, title, etc. So now we come to the first quiz question. You don't need to say it aloud, but reflect for yourself. Do you think this would work? Meta keywords and some very interesting words that's important for today, or for the organizer of this conference. So if you still think this works, you live in the 90s. This is an example of keyword stuffing, and especially using the meta tag in this way was very common and also effective in the 1990s. But still, some people believe that this works, and you can find blogs recommending this. Some of the first search engines like Archie, Infoseek, AltaVista, all the web, almost any tactic worked at that time, because they focus basically on indexing and getting fast search results, for instance. But meta keywords, like I showed, is not used by Google at all. I tested that in 2006, and the content which we put in the keywords tag was not ranked at all. And in 2009, Matt Cutts from Google published a video telling the word officially, do not use it, we don't use meta keywords, ignore. And recently, Bing has claimed to use it as a spam signal. If the meta keyword tag looks spammy, it's a signal that the entire page or site is a spam site. So don't listen to old advice, ignore meta keywords, or put something sensible there. No one will use it anyhow. Maybe Yandex uses it. So if Russia is an important market, maybe look into that. But for Google, it doesn't matter. Quiz number 2. This is the meta description. Is this useful? The content here is not indexed at all, so it does not seem to count for ranking. However, it's the call to action and ingress for the page. So I snipped that from NDC, the homepage. So this is the text in the meta description. So this is what the user sees when they get a result page from Google. So what you write there determines if the user is going to click or not. Google capped this at Twitter length, in this case, 150 characters. Sometimes they use 270, but we don't know when. But probably it could be perhaps be that it's becoming longer. So the title of your page, the meta description, is really, and the URL is what the user has to determine if I'm going to click on this link or not on the Google search result page. So in 1998, Google was launched. And in 2000, FINN was launched as its own brand. In 2003, the first major algorithm change by Google against black hat tactics and keyword stuffing was being used. And in 2005, FINN launched it internationally under the daughter company FinTech. And in these countries where we started, search traffic was necessary. However, the Norwegian product roadmap was the most important. So our subsidiaries or partners had a big problem getting what they wanted on our roadmap. And part of what they wanted was better sitemap, robots.txt, CMS, basically basic search engine optimization tools. And we did something, finally, in the late 2000s. So for a short period of time, we even have a person which was responsible for SEO. But that was quickly overwritten when the new developers came in and didn't know why was this shitty code here. In 2011, Google launched Panda and Penguin algorithms, which you can find lots of blog posts around, because it was new algorithms trying to get rid of deceptive techniques, spammy sites, and so on. In 2015, RankBrain was launched, which is machine learning, artificial intelligence, giving you the best rank and the best results possible. Google has claimed all the way that if you make a site good for the users, it will also be good for the search engine. And they got really better and better at this. We can see lots of spammy yellow pages sites, for instance, are more or less gone from the indexes. So the question I asked, how did we at Finn handle all these important changes to the algorithms? And this is the answer. Or perhaps this. We didn't care. The traffic grew fantastically. Earnings grew. Happy users, number one. Happy users on the various questionnaires. But what did we not understand about basic search friendliness? So a crawler or a bot, it's called Google Bot, so that's why we use the bot icon here. As I mentioned, it will look at what you render at server side. It will actually now execute JavaScript, which means that interstitials will show. We had a blunder with the GDPR consent form, which basically was on top of all pages indexed by Google the last 2 weeks, because it does not store cookies and it will not click buttons. And Google give you a feedback tool called Search Console or Webmaster Tools, where you can see your status of your index, and they can actually send you messages if they find something seriously wrong with your page. So what is important for ranking? Today, the content of your page that users actually search for and want to read. LSI is called latent semantic indexing. It's basically synonyms. So a good text will not use the same word all over. You will have some variation in your prose. And Google knows about similar words. The page must be crawlable for the search engine. The quality and quantity of incoming links is still important. The original algorithm of Google called PageRank, which was published in the academic journals in the late 90s, it was about counting the number of links to your site and your pages. So think of one link to your site as a vote. Over time, they have also considered the quality of the links. So an early tactic in the 2000s was to make a link farm. So you put up servers, hundreds of servers all over the world with random generated content, more or less, linking to your customers' sites, which then get many incoming links and ranks better. That does not work anymore, and you're likely to get banned, that is, removed from the index if you do it. So avoid that. The click-through rate on the search engine page is very important. The so-called dwell time, that is, how long is the user staying on your page, is important, because that's a signal that your content satisfies the user. The perceived authoritativeness of your site, trustworthiness, is important. The page speed. And finally, since 2015, if your page is multi-device, is mobile-friendly, is important. Currently, Google will mark in the search result a page as non-mobile friendly. I said that Google can determine quality. How can they know if you bounce or how long you stay on the site? Well, if you click back immediately after going to a page, you will come back to the Google search page. So they will record that and see, okay, this user was not happy with this particular result. Also, Google owns Chrome and Chrome bookmarks. Many sites have Google Analytics. They can also look at how many searches for your brand. That's also a single indicator if you are a trustworthy, authoritative site. Technical SEO is about your technical pages, technical implementation of your pages. And duplicate or missing titles or descriptions means that Google don't know what to show the user in the result page. So that's a problem. Broken links, pages that are blocked, wrong use of redirects, poor HTML, missing sitemaps. Infinite number of pages is a problem, because even though Google has nearly infinite resources, they also have infinite web pages to crawl. So they will give a budget to your site. If you are an important site, it will be a big budget. If it's a site they haven't heard of, they might just index the front page. I've actually tested that. We launched skiinfo.Russia with mostly Google Translate. And we had, let's say, 1,000 pages. Google indexed only the first page, because no one in the entire world was linking to that page. So they decided probably, this is not important. So this is an example of FINN from a search result from FINN in January, which is pretty poor. You probably understand this is house for rent, home for rent, bolig til leie, but not much else. And you also see we got even the label, your page is not mobile friendly. But we launched a mobile friendly website in 2016. How could this be? Well, these are links to our old stack, or old pages that were not turned off yet. But they were still indexed and ranked quite well because of the strength of the domain name. So this was really hopeless. And if you wonder if the click-through rate is important, Google has published academic papers where they start the abstract with click-through data has proven to be a critical resource for improving search ranking quality. Google also publishes webmaster guidelines where they have said for a very long time, make pages primarily for users, not for search engines, and avoid tricks. So let's score FINN.no. Our parts of it, I mean, parts are good. It's a big site, many sub-vertical, sub-products. But in general, I can find many, many problems on our site. So the quality and quantity of incoming links, that's really good. And the perceived authoritativeness and the page speed is good. But on the other parameters, quite some bad issues. So what went wrong? How did we end up with 40 million bullshit pages with duplicate titles and missing descriptions? I did look into our strategy documents. When did we decide to do SEO poorly? Was there a bonus goal? Champagne on the next All Hands meeting if we do this poorly? Of course not. Since we had strong traffic growth and strong earnings growth, it was very low awareness on the topic of SEO. It was low interest in the product and the business side, and also among the developers, this was not a topic we talked about. We did have some one-off initiatives. So for instance, Finn Travel had for a period a product owner that really wanted to improve on the Google rankings. So they hired a consultant, got a report, implemented a little bit of what was recommended. And then probably half a year later, some of it was reverted because a new developer came in or a new ID just overwrote what was done. We have many, many examples of that. And also at Finn, we decided very early that parts of real estate and cars should not be indexed at all. So in a way, we were anti-search engines for parts of our site, which didn't help on the awareness of doing this right. So when we look at this, I said 13 million page views, which is really not bad. It was mostly branded traffic. That is, people search for Finn and travel, reise, or bolig til leie, home for rent, or any of our other sub-brands. So people know where to go. They go to Finn. So for unbranded traffic, just bolig til leie, home for rent, we didn't rank that well, and we ranked with these crappy links that I showed you. So our hypothesis is that we get too little long-tail traffic from Google. And also, if there is a competitor attacking parts of what we deliver, they could actually get more or less all the Google traffic. So trying to improve this was really triggered when we launched or worked with launching FINN Shopping, which was a new vertical about a year ago, where we integrate different distributors of new products. So we're not selling secondhand. We have a shopping site as well. And they had about 30,000 product pages they wanted to have indexed by Google. But Google, the Google bot, he was busy by indexing our 50 million bullshit search result pages. So FINN Shopping was nearly not indexed at all. So they wanted to repair that because they needed the traffic. Now they have gotten marketing budget for TV ads, but when they started, they didn't have that money, so Google traffic would be very valuable for them. So what blocked them was that we had, let's say, 40, 50 million wasted pages. It was partly sold or deleted objects that still ranked in Google and took a part of the ranking budget and also what's called link juice. But the worst thing was that the search result, we have filters, and so let's say you have 30 filters, and you can make all kind of permutations of that. That's probably a million of combinations. And then we have the page counter. So you have the first result page, and you click the next page, and so on. The Googlebot follows links. So I found a page that was the search result for some combination of filter, and page 4014. And I doubt that anyone is interested in getting directly to the result page 4014. So basically, Googlebot was going in an infinite loop, indexing things that was not useful for the users, not useful for FINN. So what we did was to block all that old crap. So now you can't find sold items anymore, or just for a little short period of time after it's sold. And we've seriously blocked how far Google can page, and also the number of filter combinations that they can index. So now we were down to 10 million pages. Now we are about 2 million pages indexed. But we have only 1 million products, so there's still some crap left, but it's probably not worth fixing. Yeah, title and description. What happened to most of our pages was that since the developers didn't care about the title and the description, it was either random gibberish, or they copied what was on the page that they have started from, which gave you FINN.no all over. If Google thinks that the link is important, but we don't tell them with the title and description what to show, it will pick something random. So in this case, Finn Eiendom bolig til leie was the title we used on all pages on the old stack for Finn Eiendom. And look at this click-through text. Spar penger på boliglånet. Save money on your mortgage. If you are going to rent a home, you're probably not that interested in a mortgage. So this did not make sense at all. What happened here was, since we didn't tell Google what to display, it just looked for some text paragraph in the page and picked this one, which was probably the one that looks mostly like content. And in the first case, the old page was, we had new stack, old stack. On the old stack, bolig til leie had some traffic from Google. We redirected that with a 301 to the new stack, which was blocked. So that's why no information is available for this page. Not very useful for the users. Fortunately, since we have a strong brand, people clicked on this link regardless. The indexer must have links to follow, otherwise it can't find the pages, just like the users. And the bot will not click fancy JavaScript buttons, but it will follow href links. And parts of our site are still not crawlable at all. But to help that, you can have a good sitemap. A sitemap is a specification where you tell the search engine which pages you want to have indexed. And if your site is crawlable, it's not really necessary. But you could list all your content pages in the sitemap XML and submit it. What's also important or useful is that Google supports Atom and RSS feeds. At Finn, we turned off the official RSS feeds some years ago, but we do still have one, and it's for Google. So in this way, we can tell Google about new objects, new ads coming in, so that they will be indexed quickly and ahead of other content and old content. This works. From the semantic web specification, we can tag our pages with what it contains, especially products, news items, and breadcrumbs. So in this case, we have an ad for an iPhone LCD screen, and underneath, you can see the breadcrumbs, which helps the user see on what part of the site does this belong. And that's tagged up with JSON linked data here. Quite ugly, but it works. If you don't provide this, if you have a very nicely structured breadcrumb with OL tag or LI tags, Google can determine and guess this. But in this way, you can control it. And having it seems also to help on your ranking. It probably signals to Google that you're serious about what you're doing. Robots.txt is to block pages that you don't want indexed. And any serious crawler will respect this. Unfortunately, we had blocked too much, which was what caused this, the first link here. Because we really wanted the landing page to be indexed, even though the actual objects shouldn't be indexed. So on our new stack, the current Finn, we don't really have landing pages for home for rent in Oslo. And since our products, the objects are of limited time span. If you sell a home, it might be visible on the site for 10 days, 20 days. If you have a used sofa, it will also be there for maybe an hour. So it's actually important for us to have a stable landing page which Google can index and know that this is the best page in Norway for selling a dog. So last August, I changed some parameters and allowed indexing of the dog category. It's probably all the things you need for your dog and everything related to that. And it quickly got results. The graph jumps quite quickly up. So this was traffic we didn't have before. And if you can get similar traffic for all categories, it will actually be something. Even though we have some 40 million page views a day. Now, bolig til leie, home for rent. I've shown that several times. There were many problems. Robots.txt blocked the landing page. We had issues with the redirects. We did not have a good title, description, or landing page. And it actually, most of the links pointed to our old pages. So fixing these three of these things, just a few hours after I deployed the fixes, it looked like this. We have a new specific title, and we have a snippet here. You could argue whether the snippet is good or not, but it's the one we submitted. So this is what we have decided to tell the user. But this was still the branded search. So now, if you search for Finn, bolig til leie, at least the top ranking link is the one we wanted. Underneath, we still had the old crap ones, which are the same title, same description. Here, there is actually a breadcrumb, so it's a little bit different, but they are useless. And then some weeks later, we now rank as #1 for the unbranded bolig til leie, which means that if you search on Google for home for rent, bolig til leie, we are #1, which is, in my opinion, where we should be. And then we have our competitors behind us. That's okay. which shows that it's doable to fix, but we have to take case by case and do it properly. Also, Google will suggest all the relevant topics around underneath, which is a quite new feature. We can also look at this data from site Webmaster Tools, Search Console. This is for the query bolig til leie. And before we did the fixes, we were quite low on the result list and had few clicks. And after, we're much, much, much higher. So graphs like this we want. Hockey stick, that's very good. Average position 1, we can't be better than 1. So that's okay. Finn job. Find your next job. With the number of jobs available in Norway isn't that high, which means that the job objects, the job ads, drowned in all the spam I talked about. So when I implemented this, the sitemap with the RSS or atom feed, we also quickly see that during a few days, Google starts to index our job ads quickly, just within 24 hours, probably even faster. So using these tools can be very, very helpful. One part of Finn that actually did some search engine optimization was Finn Reise Travel for their single page of currency exchange rate calculator, valutakalkulator. I think they had a consultant and they did some quite okay work a few years ago. But over time, it fell a little bit down, but it was still the biggest non-branded click into Finn. And we got it back up to number 3 for the unbranded search, which is okay. We have tried to change a little bit. You could argue that it's nearly keyword stuffing, but we have valutakalkulator, valutakurser, and we even mentioned some currencies like dollar, pound, euro, baht. Norwegians go to Thailand for vacation. But we're still number 3, and I like to win. So I will speculate that DNB, which is Norway's biggest bank, that Google thinks that a bank is a stronger authority on currency and currency exchange than Finn. So that it will be quite hard for us to beat DNB here. If we really want to do it, I think we should get bloggers all over the Norwegian landscape to write about how great our currency exchange calculator is and link to it. That might help because we will get more incoming links to this page. But we don't know. Some argue that it's actually spam to try to push this, since we are not about currency exchange, we're about secondhand. But I don't think that's true. Yeah, so to sum up a little bit, Google can be your friend. It can also be very scary if you have 50% of your traffic coming from Google. If you do something really wrong, or they change their algorithms, you can lose all your traffic overnight. So take a look at your analytics, find out where your links come from, and nurture them. Be a gardener. If you want to dig deeper into this topic, these are some valuable resources as of today. Moz.com has been online for many, many years. Google Search Console, Webmaster Tools is very important. And also follow the Google guidelines. I'd like to show you. So here we are in Webmaster Tools, Search Console, and we can see the statistics from Google. how many pages they crawl per day, and how many kilobytes they download, and even the speed, how quickly could they download. So currently we have an average of 1.5 million pages crawled every day. So when we had 50 million pages, it means that once a month, a Finn page was indexed. Now when we have about 2 million pages indexed, it's every second day, which is much, much, much better for us and the users. You will also get warned about errors on a page, which can be very useful to follow up. The Search Console also now have very good statistics on the number of clicks on search words to your page. So you can really go deep in and analyze there. So I really recommend that, but I will not do that for all of you. We'll keep those secret for you. So what's most important to have on your page? Content that users search for, content that users want to read. The quality and quantity of incoming links, a successful click-through rate on the search engine result page, dwell time on your site, that is how long people spend on your site, and the perceived authoritativeness of your site and your pages. And what is not important is the meta keywords. You can fill it in with something useful, but don't overdo it. It's at best not useful. At worst, you will be tagged as a spam site. So that's it. Thank you for coming. If you want to raise a question in plenum, please feel free, or otherwise come up afterwards. We know in Norway no one asks questions, so thank you.